What's up guys, welcome back to SPPTV. Today is the day, hopefully, that you guys have been waiting for. The day that we get the S10 running. The other day off camera, me and the guys, we bled the brakes on it. We didn't bother filming it because bleeding brakes is boring and it took a while, but really we only had one leak on this front wheel. Other than that, it actually went pretty good. It just took a while because everything was new. The brakes are working good. I also got this battery box done. Open her up, there's the battery in there. As you see, there's still tons of room to put rags and stuff and wheel cleaner and whatever else. Now we have to test the fuel system for leaks, preset the regulator. Then we got to put in fluids, prime the engine with oil, put transmission fluid in, put water in the radiator. And then the other thing we're gonna have to do is figure out a tune for it, which we're gonna do today, so let's get to it. All right, so now I'm gonna test the fuel system. Everything's obviously hooked up. I'm sure it's tight, all that. I can't obviously totally set the fuel pressure until the thing's running, but I just wanna get it kind of close so that it will run. Plus I also wanna check for leaks anywhere on all the fittings and at the back. So let's see what happens. Okay, go ahead. So there we go. We got fuel pressure. Doesn't look like anything's leaking. I think there might be a slight leak at the fuel filter, so I'm gonna have to crawl under there and double check those fittings. Nothing's like pouring on the ground, but it just seems a little wet kind of right by the filter, so I'm gonna take a look at that now. But that looks good, so now we can move on to something else. What we have to do now is download the file, the tune file, from the stock computer onto HP Tuners, which is right here. We have to download it, and then we have to save it, and then save it as a different file so that the original stock file is still in my computer, so that we can always revert back to it once we change the tune. So what we're going to do now is turn on the key. So we'll turn the key on. Okay, and then we go to here and click on here and see what happens. Okay, so now you can see it's doing something. Like I said, this is new to me too. Like if it's new, I don't know if it's new to you guys. Some of you it is, but this is new to me. So, oh, I guess I have to click on read. Now it says interface not found or not responding. Okay, but it is plugged in. It says power. Unless, of course, I have something hooked up wrong. Oh, maybe it just wasn't plugged into the computer all the way? Well, that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe I don't have something hooked up. I'll have to take a look, but because I mean, maybe the OBD2 port isn't reading. Maybe there's no power to it. I'm pretty sure I hooked it up, but better check that. Okay, so apparently the reason why is because I didn't have the proper drivers, which I hopefully do now. So we're gonna give this a try again. And if you need the drivers, I just looked online for HP Tuners drivers, and then I got to like HP Tuners forum or something, and I was able to get them from there, and then just however they work on your computer. Some days I think this computer is so slow. It's ridiculous. But I only bought it for tuning, so it should be okay. So now let's turn the key on. I actually ended up taking the fuel pump relay out so that it's not constantly priming the system, which it doesn't need to do. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Hopefully now it'll do something. And it still says it doesn't work.
Goddamn son of a bitch!
So this is what I figured out now. If you look closely here, we can read it. It says HP Tuners Channel A, HP Tuners Channel B. You have to have both of those. If you don't have both of those, it doesn't work. And you have to update them both. So I just did that. So let's hope that now this thing works, because this is making me mad already. Okay, so go to flash. I got to turn the key on. Let's go to read vehicle. Click on read. Vehicle power not detected. But well, that is also interesting. I checked for power and it has power. unless I have the wrong one pinned maybe by accident. So I'll have to look at that. This is not being easy for me, but we'll figure it out. All right, let's try this again. So it turned out I didn't have a ground going to here, and I don't know why, but I ran a different ground, and let's try it again. And there it goes. So now you can see it's reading. It tells you what computer it is. Here, 99 Silverado, 4.8, etc. So once we read it, then we can save it to the computer, and then we'll be ready to start modifying it. Watch a couple videos on segment swapping for the 4L80 yesterday. So, I mean, the thing is, I don't really know, you know, like I'm just learning this stuff. Mike knows more of it than me, so just trying to like figure things out here. So, but at least we got it going now. So that was the issue. Wow, the driver's not being installed and a bad ground wire. So I don't know why. I can't remember exactly where I hooked that ground wire to. If I had hooked it with other grounds or if I just hooked it by itself, and maybe it's I have no idea. But it's working now, so that's all that matters. And there we go. So now we want to save it as stock. We'll save it there. And now it's going to open it up. So once we have the program in the computer, what I ended up doing, I opened the file, the one we called stock S10, and then I just saved it as right there. And then I changed the name to Turbo S10 July 11th. So every time you change something, make a new file the same way, like change some stuff and then name it like July 12th file, whatever your car is called. So this way, if you screw something up, you can always revert back to your last tune that possibly was working fine, right? Then you can go through all the different settings. So this is your engine setting, has all the different stuff. You go to airflow, and then you get your VE table, which is your main fueling table, and all the other stuff it does. See, this has something for electronic throttle, spark, all kinds of stuff like that. Spark advance, so I'm assuming this is like your timing table. It says high octane, low octane, so I'm not 100% sure what the difference is with that kind of stuff. But like I said, I'm just learning like you guys are learning. So, but I did notice something interesting here. The computer that I got this out of was, I'm pretty sure, was just a regular 1500 4x4 truck, but I went to transmission, and it tells you all different things you can do with the torque management to turn it off, I guess, and all that. And then in the general, it already says 4L80E. So I don't have to segment swap this, because apparently the truck that I got the computer out of must have already had a 4L80 in it. So that's pretty good. So that's one less thing to do. Not that that's really hard to do, but now we'll try to figure out what to do next. All right, guys, so I've been doing some research, and so anyways, what I figured out is that Mike had screwed around with the tune on my computer, like when we first started to set it up, and he had actually already done the 2-bar map sensor and speed density upgrade, and then I thought that the trans must have been a 4L80, but he actually just changed that in the program, but it doesn't actually change it. You still have to do that segment swap. So then I started looking into the segment swap, and I went on HP Tuners and I downloaded a file for a 4L80, but it wouldn't work. And what I ended up reading and finding out is that it has to be from the same operating system, so the computer has to be kind of like from the same year. So I ended up trying a whole bunch, which didn't work. And then I ended up, my computer's a 99 computer, and so I ended up finding a 99 computer file from a 6-liter like Silverado with a 4L80, and now it works. So now I can show you. But what I have to do, what they say to do, is to do that when you do a segment swap, you should start with a stock tune. You shouldn't start with a tune that's been like worked on already. So I'm going to start with a stock tune, and I'm going to start all over again, which is good, because then I can show you guys how to do that, the 2-bar upgrade and all that stuff. So basically what you do is you open your file. So if you see here, it says Blue Ghost stock. So that's my stock file, right? and then it says versus user download, blah blah blah, whatever number that is. So what you do is you open your file and then you go to compare like this, and then you open compare file, and then you find the file that you downloaded, and then you open it, and then once it's opened, then you go to compare again, and then you go here to where it says segment swapper. You click that, and then you have to find this one. So this is the transmission, and then you find this one says transmission diagnostic. I read that you're supposed to do that one too, and then just go like this, import selected segments like that, and then I'm guessing it does it. And now we're gonna save it as Blue Ghost 4L80. Okay, so now when we go to trans, now it says 4L80, and I'm assuming all this stuff will be also 4L80 specific. And I guess this is torque management, which has to be turned off. The engine stuff. Oh, that's weird. Oh, okay, because my computer said 4.8. So then this will have to be changed now, along with doing the 2-bar upgrade, which we'll have to do now. I'll have to ask Mike. Mike is here, so we'll try to figure out how to do it, or he'll tell me how to do it because he knows. So we'll do that next. It's much later in the day now. My camera died. The SD card was full, I guess, and I didn't have another one, and then we were having issues. If you were watching the live stream, you would have seen it. So we tested the injectors, the power to the wiring. It wasn't that. We tested the injectors by giving them power. They seemed to be working. Then Mike ended up noticing we were testing. We had put the fuel rail back on, hooked it to the fuel regulator, and then we tried testing to see if they'd start like leaking. I mean, not spraying, right? Or spraying, like leaking out. We didn't have the wiring hooked up or anything. And he heard a weird sound, and it sounded like gas was going into the intake. So then we ended up figuring out that the regulator, fuel regulator, the boost reference port, was actually gas was spraying out of there into the intake manifold. I ended up taking the regulator apart. It's one from China. I bought it off AliExpress. It's an air motive knockoff. I thought maybe it was not sealing good, so I ended up sanding it smooth. Then Clayton noticed that the diaphragm somewhere, oops, is actually got a rip in it. So that was the issue. The diaphragm had a rip in it.
Can't you see it?
Well, I can't. Well, here, you come and you show them the rip.
It's clear as day.
I can't do it by myself. Okay, there you go.
Can you see it?
Can you see it? Right there. There's the rip. Yeah, I see it. Well, I can't really see it through the little screen, but yeah, there you go.
There.
That was the issue that was causing all the fuel to go right into here
Topside.
and shoot out. Basically, like there, it was coming out of there, going right into the intake manifold, and filling the engine with gas, which is awesome. So
that's, what? POI perform?
PQY or something, yeah. Air motive knockoff. But anyways, then Mike went and got his it's for Summit brand one that he ordered for the Sonic Stang. But the fittings are different. Mine has a -6 return and a -8 feed, and this one has a -8 return, and then it has a -8 feed, but then the feeds that would go into the fuel rails are 6s. So it won't work with the fittings we have. So I'm gonna see tomorrow about getting either fittings for this one or a diaphragm. One of our friends says he believes he has one of these diaphragms, like an air motive one, because they're the same. So we're gonna see what happens. Or I can order one for like $30, which is more than I paid for the whole regulator, but you know, shit happens, and we're gonna figure it out. I guess that'll be it for tonight, and we'll carry on once we figure this out and get something to put one of these regulators on, right? Right. All right, what is up? So it's the next day now. I actually got a new diaphragm. Special shout out to Justin from Butcher Brothers. He happened to have one kicking around. It actually looks like a nicer one than the one that was in there. So it's exactly the same, except actually it's a little bit bigger, so it actually fits way nicer on there. You can see that compared to that. So yeah, we're back in business. I'm gonna put this regulator back together and get it back on the truck. We'll put the plugs in, put the oil in, and we'll try to start it again. I ended up putting the regulator in, and it fixed that issue. So that's all good now. We did actually try starting it, and it doesn't want to start. But the plugs that were in there, they got wet from the gas. So I'm starting to think that maybe the plugs are just shitty, because it kind of like tries to start, but it doesn't start. So we tried changing a few things in the tune to see if that would help. It didn't. So I'm starting to think that it's the plugs. They're just wet with fuel, and they're just not sparking good. So tomorrow I'm going to go get some plugs and throw them in and hope that that gets it going. Like I said, we tried a few different things, changing a few things. You know, I kind of assumed like the tune that I made is obviously very, you know, like just it has to be tuned a bunch more, but I kind of hoped that it would at least start up. I pulled the transmission out of the Nova because I don't know, I think in the last video I said that it was making some noise. So here it is, it's all apart, mostly apart. This is the straight cut gear set, which everything looks good. The only thing I really found so far is that some of these were loose. So I don't know if that was causing it to cock the gears a little weird or something, make noise, but I'm going to take the rest of it apart. I'll show you guys. It was just another one of those nights where I just didn't get any filming done because we were kind of just screwing around doing this and that. So yeah, but we'll get back on this tomorrow and throw those plugs in and see what happens. All right, so it's the next day. I'm out here in the garage. I actually just finished putting the transmission back together. There wasn't really anything much to see in there. Everything else looks good except for those bolts being a little loose. But I was expecting something with the gear set to be bad, but everything looks good. So I just threw it back together, and I guess I'm gonna put it back in. I ordered my drive shaft, so I'm still waiting on that. I got some plugs here. NGK TR6, same ones that are in it right now. So I'm gonna throw those in, and then the guys will be here soon, and we'll try firing it up again and see what happens. I got it all ready to go. And actually, I'm not gonna lie, I already started it up, so
Liar.
it does run. I will start it for you guys right away. The guys in the live stream already saw it, so yeah, we'll give her a start, and then you can hear what it sounds like. Now we're gonna fire it up. Actually, Clayton, come here and you take over, because I can't do both because I don't have.
I'll hit it from the back, side to side.
Sure, whatever you want.
Well, geez, I don't know what to do. Or maybe I'll do engine, then I go to the back.
All right, here we go.
That's a healthy 323 cubic inch
There's
motor.
a little bit of a high idler there.
Yeah, we definitely have to play around with that.
We haven't tuned it at all.
That's bass.
Yeah, that's a very bass tune, as you guys saw earlier in the video.
And
Hey, Mike.
The previous video.
Say hi to the live stream.
Yeah,
Live stream, say hi to the video.
The thing is, I never end up using these clips. They're fun in person, but then.
All right, guys. So yeah, it's running. So that's awesome.
Cheers to Rob. Congrats.
Woo!
Fruit of your labor.
All right, guys. But on that note, that's going to be the end of this video. So like always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll check you later.